What else? Yeah, it's fun. Believe in other people.
Challenging.
Well, you got to challenge yourself to stretch. Okay. These are all starting points that we have to have if we're going to move from here to here. What I see a lot is that people don't really respect the journey that goes from here to here. They think it's supposed to happen overnight, that it's supposed to be quick, that everyone is supposed to see it the way that you see it. Well, if that were the case, ladies and gentlemen, then this wouldn't be an opportunity. If it were that simple and that easy, none of us could ever get rich doing it. Think about the simple, easy stuff in life. Is it easy for any of us right now to go to McDonald's and fill out an application? Yes? Who here feels like, I can flip a burger? I can do that. I can push a shake machine and fill up a cup and say, have a nice day. I can do that. That's pretty easy. Do the people at McDonald's make a lot of money? No. There's no one on planet Earth that generates millions of dollars of income, and what they do or what they did to get there was just easy. Anybody could do it. It's simple in most cases. It is simple. But ladies and gentlemen, most people are so stuck in the 98% world and the story that they live from and not making the proper edits on their life script that they just stay in this area. They want more, but they're not willing to become more. They're not willing to do more. The way it works over here is you be and you do, and then you'll have. Be, do, and you'll have. 98%ers, they want to have without the being or the doing. They want something for nothing. And that's why they stay stuck over there. 2%ers understand. For some of you, where you're starting right now today, I don't care how long you've been in the business, if you've been in the business for months or years or just a couple of days, everybody has a starting point right now today. It's going to be different than the person sitting next to you. The only thing that you have control over is the amount of time, focus, energy, and effort that you put into moving in this direction from this day forward. Some of you, after today, will have a greater sense of focus and a greater belief in yourself. So you're going to move with a greater sense of urgency. And guess what? Some of you are going to really start to produce at higher heights because of that. Others of you still have to do some work just on your personal development, on your story. You're really going to have to go back and look at your story and say, okay, I've been believing this about myself. That doesn't serve me. When things don't go well, how I talk to myself about the situation, how I talk to other people about the situation, I have to fix that. Because it doesn't really serve anything. How many of you all know people that when things don't work out, they just go negative? They just start whining. They start, they panic. Who wants to be around that?
Nobody.
People are always watching you. Every single person in this room, because you have the desire to increase your business, to improve the quality of your life, that makes you a bona fide leader. I don't care how many people you have on your team, if it's 1 or 1,000. You are always the constant example. And I'm much more interested and how you respond when things don't go well than when they do. It's easy to be up and excited when people are showing up for your presentations and people are signing up for your business and your paycheck is going up. It's easy to be up then. I'm looking at people when things aren't going well. When no one shows up, how do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to other people? When the projector doesn't work and the microphone short circuits, what do? How do you handle that? That is going to reveal your character. It's going to tell everybody around you how much you truly work on yourself. How you talk about other people tells so much about you. The language that you use. If I'm having a disagreement with someone, would you ever know? Would you be able to tell? Even though we have to work together, am I being a leader in that moment, in those moments? If there's something that's happening that I'm not satisfied with in the company, do I go out and tell everybody about it? Or do I take responsibility as part owner of the company because I'm an entrepreneur, and do I put myself in that category and say, well, what can I do to make this situation better? What kind of a leader are you? What kind of example are you setting based on your story, where you live from, your mindset? The mind is a powerful thing. If you take the time to cultivate what's happening in your mind, you will be absolutely amazed at what you can produce and create in your life. And guess what? You can't be normal. You can't be reasonable. You got to be cray-cray. Cray-cray, crazy. We say cray-cray in the States. That means you really crazy. If people aren't looking at you like there's something off, then you're not really reaching for that. It's like you're trying to fit in. You don't want to stand out too much. You don't want to draw too much attention to yourself. You don't want to, it's like some of y'all want to be cool. Yeah, I'm doing this business and I'm having some success. Something I want to share with you. Very excited about it. Come on, take this out. Take a look. Just want to be cool. Now, I'm not saying that you have to not be authentic. But check this out. If you're the type of person that's normally kind of even, and you move through life like this, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, listen to me. I got 2 minutes to share something with you that is absolutely game-changing. In that moment, whoever you're talking to, they're like, I have never seen you this way before. Whatever it is, I gotta see it. You have my attention. See, most people, ladies and gentlemen, they would rather look cool than be successful. They would rather look cool than be successful. They're so worried about what other people think about how they look. Who cares? So take some risks with yourself on how you share this story and how you want to promote it. And I'll give you an example. So when I was in Cleveland, Ohio, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to be an actor. And there was nobody in my family that had ever done that. Some of you all in your families, you've never had someone that was an entrepreneur. You've never had anybody in your family that was a successful multiple 6 or 7 figure earner in network marketing. You never had that before. There was nobody in my neighborhood that had successfully been an actor either. But I had this crazy idea. It was just something that was in me. There are things in you right now that don't make any sense. Some of you have it in you that you want to earn $50,000 a month, and you've never made $50,000 a year. It doesn't make any sense. How can you want to make $50,000 a month and you've never made $50,000 a year? That's crazy. Now you're onto something. So I had this dream. And what I did was I fed the dream instead of feeding my fear. I could have said, well, no one in my family's ever been an actor and nobody in my neighborhood's an actor, and well, maybe I'm not supposed to do it. Maybe it's not for me. No. I focused on my story. My story was, I'm going to do this come hell or high water. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what I have to do. I will do whatever it takes. Woo! So you know what that looks like? It looks like for weeks and for months. It's reading plays, learning monologues by myself, just me, myself, and I. Practicing on my own, finding different spaces that were empty where I could just practice scenes by myself. Watching people when I'm out in the world and studying different walks and people's gaits and looking at people's postures and just trying on different things. And I'd be walking, and all of a sudden I'd just try that on, see how that feels. And people will come to me and say, oh, you know, what's going on with your leg? I say, nothing, I'm just practicing. And then I'd walk into something and I'd practice accents. So they say, where are you from? I say, I'm from Cleveland. What do you mean? You're not from Cleveland? Or, it's your accent. What do you mean? I don't have an accent. You have an accent. That was a lovely game, wasn't it? Ain't nobody from Cleveland talk like that. No, really, I am. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I was born. I'm not pulling your leg at all. But I would just try stuff. I didn't care how people responded because I was committed to where I was going. And guess what happens? Your mind is like, it's a receiving station. So you receive things, but you also send things out. You send things out from your mind. And the frequency that you're sending things out at, it brings things to you based on your attraction. So you want to ask yourself, what kind of person do I have to become in order to attract the right kind of leaders into my business, into my idea? What kind of person do I have to become in order to attract producers and self-starters into my business? If you're not finding those things, then that's the thing that you need to work on. Becoming that kind of person that attracts that to you. Because I can tell you from Cleveland, Ohio, to the Broadway stage, to off-Broadway, to films, to television, to residual income that still pays me to this day, 10 years plus later, for stuff I did that long ago. I mean, at my starting point, if you had told me when I was starting in Cleveland that that's all those things were going to happen, I would have had a hard time believing that. But I just focused on the vision. And the more resistance I got, the better I felt. The more people said to me, well, you know, I mean, if it doesn't happen, it's okay, because you can always do stuff here locally in Cleveland. And, you know, if you don't make it, it's all right, because like the more resistance I got, the harder I pushed. Because the only voice that mattered was mine. It's the same thing with your business. It's the same thing with the commitments that you're having for yourselves. you have to make that decision that you're going to stay on the line no matter how much of life comes at you. Because life is going to come at you. It's going to throw things at you on a constant basis. But if you just decide that nothing's going to knock you off that line and you're going to keep moving forward no matter what, well, then the universe starts to make room for you. The commitment that you make, whatever thing you want to achieve, that you're going to move towards, will also begin to move towards you. So whatever commitment you make to get to this space, it begins to move towards you as you move towards it. And the harder you work, the smarter you work, the more focused you are, it gets closer. You can collapse time frames over here. It's so interesting to me when I talk to people and I'll ask them, hey, tell me about the last couple of years of your life. What has been the dramatic improvements in your life in the last couple of years? And if they're not a part of our business model, it doesn't really, there's not a whole lot of variation. It doesn't change that much. It's fascinating to me that you'd spend 2, 3, 5 years, 10 years doing something, but nothing really changes that much. Your income doesn't really go up that much. I don't get that. If I'm going to spend that much time doing something, I want the rewards that come with it. If I can double my income from year 1 to year 3, and then I can double it again from year 3 to year 5, and then I can double it again from year 5 to year 8, that's much more interesting to me than getting a little 2% raise every year. 3% raise. That doesn't even keep up with the cost of inflation. Those of you that are here because you really want to build your business, you really want to improve the quality of your life, it starts with you. Don't delude yourself. Don't lie to yourself and say, yeah, I really want to take my business to the next level. I want to get to the next rank. I want my income to go up. And you're not even doing 10 exposures in 7 days? Just be honest and say, you know what? I just want to go really, really slow. I want to make tiny, tiny improvements over a really long time. That's okay. Just be honest about it. But if you're serious about getting to the next rank, getting to the next income level, you're going to have your activity match your story. It's not enough just to have the story. You've got to have the activity to match it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's easy to be in a room full of awesome, dynamic, and powerful people like this and be excited for a couple of hours. I want to know what you're doing when nobody's around. I want to know the number of phone calls you're making, the activities that you're doing when no one is looking. That's the key. Getting from the 98% to the 2%. It's a journey. You can get there faster if you work smarter and harder. The books that you read, the audios that you're listening to, the programming, the conversations that you have with yourself and other people, the words that come out of your mouth, the words that come out of your mouth. Be mindful. Be mindful of how you talk about yourself and others in any and every situation. Because it says everything about your personal development. And if you make that commitment to those things, then there's absolutely no limits to what you can produce in your reality. None. You don't know how far you can go until you go how far you can go and then push past it. You're never going to find that out. What we do, it's a truth-telling business. It tells us the truth about who we are, whose we are, and who the people around us are. But it all starts with you. Because if you have an off day, an off week, an off month, an off year, if you decide you're going to take 6 months off and not do anything, no one's going to follow you if you're flaky like that. Nobody wants to partner up with someone who's hot today, cold tomorrow. If you're going to make the commitment, then keep your commitment to your commitment. If only for the sake of honoring yourself, because you said you would. Don't just say something because it sounds good, and then you don't follow through. This is what 98%ers do all the time. Zero integrity. Zero. If you say you're going to do something, you better do it or die trying. Otherwise, don't say it. Think before you speak. If I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, I will be there. If I tell you I'm going to back you up, I will have your back to the ends of the earth. If I tell you I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to see you win and be successful, then I will do whatever it takes, even if I don't like it, even if I get irritated with you, even if you get on my damn nerves.
Bravo.
That's the attitude that you want to have for yourself and the people that you're working with. The people that are going to join you, they're joining you because they can sense it, they can feel it. They know. I've seen people that come in and they're excited in the first couple of weeks. They're excited because it's new. And they might even get some people to join. And then over time, maybe a month or 2 months later, the people that join, they all quit. And then that person's not so excited anymore. And that person eventually quits. This is a energy and intention business. I can't fully explain it, but here's what I know. That person that was excited in the beginning, and then those people quit and that person quit, the reason those people quit was because they always knew that person was going to quit. They knew that person was weak. They couldn't stay on the line. They allowed life to get in the way. They made excuses. They rationalized, they justified why they couldn't do it, why it wouldn't work. Well, those people knew that before it happened, called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because an ounce of doubt will destroy a mountain of faith. You come into this with even a hesitation that it's not going to work, it will not work. How many of you all, when you got up this morning, you had some doubt as to whether or not you would get here? You had doubt.
Because of the weather, not because something else.
Because of the what?
Weather.
Let me tell you something. When I got up this morning and I heard all this noise, and I thought there's something going on in the hotel. Like I thought there was somebody above me that was drumming or something. And I looked outside, I was like, oh, that's rain. And the first thing I said to myself is, I'm so excited. I said, because the people that show up today, those are the ones I'm looking for. See, your mind is everything. I remember two specific occasions. One, we had this thing called Hurricane Irene. Hurricane Irene came through the East Coast with a vengeance. And on that day, I had scheduled a special leadership training at my house. And I remember Michael Jex called me. He said, hey, listen, I don't know about this whole hurricane thing. And I said, man, don't be a little punk. I said, get your ass over here. I don't want to hear no excuses. Because I want to know who's going to show up when you're not supposed to. When life gets in the way, when the elements get in the way, how are you going to respond to that? Are you going to bend to the will of the universe, or are you going to bend the universe to your will? That's the first one. And they showed up. The leaders were all there. The second one was we had this massive snowstorm in New York City. Valerie Acosta was about 7.5 months pregnant with Tyler, and we were having another Super Saturday, and the snow was just coming down. They were starting to close things early. They were sending people home from work early. And as soon as that happened, I got excited. I said, man, I can't wait to see who shows up in this blizzard. I had to drive an hour from where the place was. See, most people that live in New York, you can take the subway, so you don't really have to deal with the weather. I had to drive in that blizzard to get there. But check it out. My thought was, somebody's got to go to work right now. Somebody. Somebody has to be at the restaurant. Somebody has to be at the electric company. Somebody's got to show up at the phone company. No matter what's happening in terms of the elements, there are certain people that have to show up at a job. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And so my thought was this: if a waitress is going to weather this blizzard in order to get to the restaurant so she can make $4 an hour plus tips, I'm going to do something that can put thousands of dollars a month in somebody else's pocket. Why wouldn't I weather that storm? Like, what makes me so different? And I remember Valerie showed up in that blizzard, 7.5 months pregnant. She was on stage and she did her thing. And we took pictures and we posted it. And what that did is that it took everybody that didn't show up, everybody that made an excuse. They said to themselves, if that woman who's 7.5 months pregnant could weather the blizzard and come out and do a presentation, what's my excuse? Woo!
Woo!
Everything that you do is either going to build your business or destroy it. Everything that you do, every decision that you make. So for those of you that got up this morning and you knew you were going to arrive here, raise your hand. You knew, you didn't have a doubt in your mind. Yes? Now, think about this. How silly would it sound if I got up this morning and I said, well, I hope I get there. I hope I arrive at my destination. What if you went through life like that? Hey, where are you going today? I'm going to my mom's house. I hope I get there. I hope I arrive. I'm pretty sure it'll work out. People will look at you like you were crazy. But people do this in their business. Well, I want to be a marketing director, but, I hope it works out. You move with certainty in other areas of your life, but you don't do it over here. What if you moved with the same spirit of certainty in your business as you do in your life? How empowering would that be? Do you think that you might attract certain people to your business if you were moving with that kind of certainty? And it doesn't matter. I don't care if you've got one person on your left and 0 on your right. If you move with certainty that you're going to hit this rank and that's how you go through life, you're going to draw other people to you. But if you're scared, if you're hesitant, if you're fearful, It's not going to happen. You have to decide from one day to the next what kind of leader you want to be. What kind of example you want to set. That's completely up to you. And every time we are faced with a challenge in our journey is an opportunity for us to become stronger or to become weaker. Here's the thing. When you give yourself an excuse, when you give yourself an out, you'll always take it. You will always take it. I can remember in New York, kicking out $250, $300 for a room. First presentation I did, I was so excited because I had vision. Had this vision. All these people in the city, I'm going to fill up this room. I remember I put out 80 chairs for my first presentation because I had sent out emails and I made phone calls. I passed out flyers and I did so much work. I was like, oh, this room's going to be packed. Because in my mind, I'm thinking it's an opportunity for people to expand, travel, fun. Money, who doesn't want to share in that? I was excited. Had all the chairs set out. And I remember walking because I left. I set the room up and then I left, went down to get some orange juice or something. I came back. 7:30 was start time. I'm looking at my watch. 7:25. Where is everybody? Where are all the guests at? Maybe did I put the wrong address? Maybe I gave them the wrong address. 7:35. Hey, how you doing? That's my first person I invited. They came. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, go in and have a seat. 7:38. I should be starting on time. I'm already 8 minutes late. Oh, hey, how you doing? I invited that person too. That's 2 people. 7:40. Okay. 10 minutes. And there's 2 of them sitting there in a room full of 80 chairs. They're just sitting there looking at each other. Why are you here? Why are we here? What did he say this was? I don't know. He just told me to come. Okay. And I remember coming in the room. I had on my suit. I was all excited. And inside, I was dying. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe nobody showed up for this. How you doing today? I'm going to do a presentation for you. And I had the big screen, and I felt kind of stupid with a big-ass screen and 2 people, you know? So I turned the screen on and I put out my laptop and said, let's just make it a little more intimate. Just the 3 of us. So, I did the presentation, and they both said no. And that was the end of my night. And my first thought was, what can I do to get more people in the room? I got to figure this thing out. And then my second thought was, that was kind of embarrassing. Like they both told me no in a big